We're almost there. Perfect. We can start the meeting.
We're live. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Please note that this meeting will be held virtually and available for public viewing on YouTube. As part of the public participation, if you have any questions regarding items on the agenda, please submit them by email at mail@ektwp.ca. Questions received prior to the meeting will be addressed during the public question period, which is limited to a 15-minute time period. Okay, moving along, everyone has the agenda, so we have to move to adopt the agenda first of all. I see Eleanor seconded by Earl. And I have to ask for disclosure of any interest on the topics. Any interest from anybody? Don't see any hands, so we will take that as a no. Next is the adoption of minutes. On everybody's package is the minutes from our last meeting dated January the 12th. Move to adopt the minutes. I see Earl and seconded by Rob. I see you. You're the smallest one, Rob. I have trouble seeing you.
That's all right.
Okay.
Don't forget to vote. Gord, don't forget the vote.
Oh, yes, yes. And all in favor of that. I see full set of hands. We're all set. Great. Okay. Moving along, we have a number of staff reports. First one, 5-1, is the COVID-19 activities relevant to economic development. Allison, can you go from there?
Oh, if I can just have a mover and seconder.
Oh, sorry, we didn't. We had the vote, but okay, I see Eleanor and then Earl.
So this is just the third update. The committee has received a few in the past just to let the committee know some of the actions that the township has taken in order to support businesses. We do continue to remain informed about what grant opportunities are available, corresponding with the different business agencies, the United Counties, their economic development department, and putting out the messages out there to businesses saying to reach out to us if they do need assistance, because we can either help direct them to opportunities that are available or potentially how to actually apply for the different grants themselves, since some have tutorials associated with them so they can follow along with the process. There will be more support opportunities coming forward. We are expecting economic development meeting for the area sometime soon. So I imagine there'll be some actions coming out from there as well.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from anyone?
Yes, I have one sort of point of interest.
Go ahead, Bill.
I talked with Ann Weir in the county's economic development group, and I was sort of wondering which is the priority group if it's a township interest. One is, do people come to the township or do they go to the county group?
It's essentially whatever they feel more comfortable with. So if they are a business within the township, they can definitely come to us. If they are located in another township, we would either direct them to contact their respective township or the counties. As for us, we, in general, promote the United Counties website because they have an ongoing resource where they have compiled all the information in one location, and they're able to update it more regularly than staff are here, just because we wear multiple hats here, where the county has a dedicated economic development for staff there. So they're able to stay on top of things a little bit quicker than us. But we do get automatic emails from the counties with any new announcements and grants that are available.
Right. Anne seemed to imply that you had a dedicated staff to entertain the programs and potential users.
Mhm.
And I don't know how many people were involved, but does the township have actually one person that knows everything about these programs?
So inquiries
Other
like that
than
would
you, Val.
they'd come to myself, and I would assist wherever I can. And if it's something that I'm not too sure of, I would consult with either the counties or the local business resource that operates in the area, or depending on what exactly the inquiry is, possibly direct them right to that better resource person than myself. So it's kind of a case by case scenario, but for the township, I would be the contact person.
Okay.
Any other?
Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Don't see any. Okay, so we have to move to adopt the report.
Or for the
All in
committee to
favor.
accept it.
For the to be accepted, excuse me. Yes. Move to accept it. I see Rob and Bill. Thank you. Okay. Moving along to
You're
5.2.
forgetting to vote again.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's when we miss meetings here, I have to be retrained. So, yeah, voting on that. So all in favor? I see all hands. Thank you. Okay, now we can move along to 5.2. Report on property assessment and affordable housing. Allison?
So start with the mover and seconder.
Oh, sorry. I see Rob first of all, and then I see Earl seconded. Yes. Go ahead. Now we can move down to 5.2.
So this is a report that stemmed from an item that was brought up at our previous meeting that was talking essentially about the assessment of properties. So it gives a brief overview. Granted, I'm not in the finance department, and there's not to go into too much detail. They did look it over just to make sure that the information within the report is accurate. But it just gives you an insight of how assessments are somewhat determined. And then just to bridge that into a bit of a affordable housing conversation as well. So we don't really have that at the township level. Instead, we rely on the United Counties to have discussions about affordable housing and homelessness, basically different programs to assist people with their living situations. So whether it's rent subsidies or potentially housing altogether, I believe there's also programs about assisting with heating costs, things like that. But that's all done at the county's level. So just kind of an overview report of property values.
I guess my only comment is, having seen it in action, there is a real long time delay before a market changes the assessment. So you wouldn't want to hold your breath for a new tax reevaluation in another year. It takes 4 years at least if they do it. So it's not a real quick thing to happen, even though all the prices seem to have changed upward these days for whatever reason. So anyway, it's a long wait.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's a long wait. That's all. Thank you. No more.
And it is true, housing prices are definitely going up a lot faster than individual wages. It's definitely not a unique to Elizabethtown-Kitley or even Ontario. It's definitely a growing problem, and it is something that you'll begin to hear more and more conversations about it, because we're already seeing that change happening, where it's becoming more at the forefront of the different levels of governments.
it's one other thing. It's an unusually good thing to happen for people that potentially need more living money or whatever if they have a property and sell it. And ideally, they find something that's less money. But there has been quite a few windfalls that I've seen in people I've talked with that, maybe have a second property or whatever, and it's certainly was the time to sell. Well, there has been a positive effect that COVID has on some landowners in the sense of reaping I wouldn't say a profit, but a capital gain perhaps on their properties that they've had. So that part's good.
One comment
Emerald?
on the appealing the assessments can be a bit of a nightmare when you've got a property that is a little bit different, and it's not easy to go back through that process. And they don't really give you a lot of resources for that, at least in my experience. I'm doing this on 11 different larger plots of land across the province right now, and it's a big job.
Is the general trend that prices are going up though, all over Ontario?
They're going up pretty well all over Ontario. Sometimes just because of the general surrounding area, whereas in this case it's farmland, and it's going up way more than what it would normally be worth, or what the productivity would warrant it to be. Like it'd be class 4 land, which it should not be going up as much as it is.
So why is there a stimulus, do you think, of increased prices?
The housing market and some of the productive land around it, surrounding it, is pushing the prices up. Like when the last assessment was done, we were looking at $2,000 to $3,000 per acre of farmland. Now we're looking at 4 and 5, if not upwards of 15,000 per acre in Eastern Ontario. So it's having a big effect on our farm taxation.
Most of the people I've talked to really like the extra cash in their pocket when they sell.
Yes,
I
but
mean,
if you have to buy, then you're spending twice what you sold your house for to get another one. So you better keep what you got.
Unless you have two.
It's like that all over housing everywhere. I've seen houses come in with offers, 100,000 more than they were listed for. It's incredible the way prices are going. I'm sure that's all over. Wow.
You think this trend will last, you guys?
And
No, it can't sustain itself. Who knows when though?
No crystal balls, eh?
No, mine's in the shop.
Yeah.
Any other further comments on that topic? Okay, move to accept the report.
All in favor?
All in favor? And seconder?
no, you're just voting on it.
Yes, we got, I see Bill. Got it. Okay. Having completed that one, we're down to 5.3, the tourism sector. Report on that, Allison?
So if I can have a mover and seconder, so.
Sorry, I have to spend
Move
one of
that
those
for you,
days.
Allison.
Yes, I see Eleanor and I see Rob.
I don't have Eleanor on my screen, actually. For some reason.
Oh, you may be a little bit limited based on using your phone,
I
but
got 4 spots. I don't know if I can scroll up. I don't want to touch it. I'm afraid to. Okay, I've got 4 screens here, so I guess that's enough.
You're okay. We see you, Bill.
Good.
And
So
now,
this is a follow-up report, just somewhat of a continuation of other tourism sector stats that have been presented. The number of surveys has declined, which is normal because there in general is less tourism in the winter months anyways. But it just gives an insight of how people are feeling and what they're thinking of doing, their travel habits and so on. I will say is that the tourism adaptation fund, I believe it was called. I'm not too sure if I included that in this report. I've been told that one will be returning because there was such interest in it. So industries that are tourism based will have another opportunity to apply for funding to assist with their PPE or making social distancing, or basically safety measures. They'll have an opportunity to get funding to help them ensure that their clientele are being safe and responsible.
One comment, Air Canada shares are going up.
That seems to be a bit of a standoff because Air Canada says they want a bailout and the government says they're only giving a bailout if they give the refunds. And Air Canada says, we'll give the refunds when we get the bailout. Vicious circle.
Oh. I guess they're in a business to make money.
Of course, yes. Any further comments on that report? Okay, Eleanor?
Yeah, Allison, do we have any indication on when the border may reopen? I'm wondering about, well, especially about our residents or homeowners that live in the US that own those homes along the St. Lawrence River. Will they be able to come in this year? And they weren't allowed last summer. I'm just looking at your numbers here. How long the recovery is. I see that the percentage of people wanting Americans is very, very low. But for tourism reasons, we need them.
So to answer your question in the short manner, no, we don't know when that may be changing. In general, the township, if not some ministries, we basically get the information at the same time. Sometimes those are directly linked with provincial announcements. So at a township level, we get no advance information of what will be coming. People who do own property in the area, it kind of depends on how they plan on crossing over, because I do know exceptions have been given to people for a variety of reasons. So it all depends on different factors, what their reason is for coming over, how long they tend to stay, potentially what their isolation plan is if they have one in place, and it could even stem down to who the border crossing patrol person is in making that determination. So it's hard to say exactly because there's lots of different factors that can sway which way. And then as for the reception of travelers in general, there is a media influence to that. So as mentioned, there was quite a decrease in interest in November, but that's when the provincial color system came into effect. So people could really see, our area is doing good, but we're surrounded by people who aren't doing as great. We don't want them in our area. So the media does have a large influence on public perception for traveling.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Any further comments, questions? To move along. So now we have to move to accept the report. And we've got Eleanor and seconded by Earl. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, next report is 5.4, a report on the business park overview. Allison?
I'll move to receive the report.
Sorry, Rob. Go ahead. Yes, thank you, Rob.
And for a
Seconder.
seconder,
And Earl, gotcha. Thank you. Now we
So
can
for-
move on. Go ahead, Allison.
so around this time last year, the committee received a brief update about the business park. So this is essentially just a routine item. But it does go into more detail in to a degree what the process is. So when there's interest, sometimes, people come in, they might make an offer shortly after, then other times the process is a little more drawn out. It's really up to the potential buyer, what their comfort level is. And then just what we advise people when there is interest, so they don't have their eyes set on a property that may not be available. If the budget is approved, there are plans to extend the Rowson Roadway. So that may make more land attractive to potential buyers as well, because that's one less constraint in a sense, or something that would delay their process. And that's essentially it for now. Just kind of a general overview, I guess.
Thank you. Is that extension of Rossum Road approved, or is that still before council?
So the budget hasn't been approved, so technically it's not firm plans.
Okay, I see Rob, first of all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as Allison's alluded to, there has been some interest in the industrial park. We can't get into any specifics, but there has been some interest. Something I want to point out with regards to the sign located on County Road 29. We have our map on that sign, and perhaps we should get a sticker, a sold sticker, that we can place on the spots that have been sold. It's like a developer. You see developers, they have a subdivision, and there's every time they sell a lot, they put the sold sign on. So people understand that properties are starting to go, development is happening, and I think that's something that the committee should look into. I think that's one way of updating our sign without getting a new sign. We don't need to invent the wheel when it's already there. I think we just need to put the sold sign on our lots. So I would recommend that if the committee in agreement of it.
Yes, that'd be a really good idea, Rob, because people do think, oh, they're all going, we better get one. It makes it look like it's moving.
Exactly. It shows the interest is there, and people are starting to buy.
Yeah.
Very good idea. Yeah. Eleanor?
Yeah, I did have another question. So just the map that we've got here is only part of the park. Is this all of the vacant lots we have? Are these ones that are here?
So yes, this
Maybe on
is
the other side.
so this is considered phase 2 of the business park. So for context, where the X is, the U are here. Just to the right of it, that longer box, that's the OPP station. So it's essentially the land that's behind there. Most of the roads that are outlined on this concept map aren't actually there right now, which is why one of the roads is proposed to be extended. So right now, all the lots that are indicated here technically have not sold. But we advise people, lot 1 has a fire water source, so it's not necessarily entirely available. Lot 7 is something that the township hanging on to because it's prime real estate. That's the one that I received the most interest in. And then we have, for good reason. And then lot 5, we have a right of first refusal associated with that. So we tell people that as well, that you're more than welcome to put an offer in. However, you're not necessarily guaranteed it, because we go back to the person that the township has an agreement with first.
But
Maybe-
this isn't the whole business park, is it? Isn't there some more to the right of
Yes.
Roslyn Road?
So this
So
is the
this-
undeveloped half of the business park.
Okay, but these white lots are all the empty lots that we have in the whole business park, or does the first phase have some empty lots?
Phase 1 does not have any available lots.
Okay, so this is all the available lots we have. Okay, that's what I was trying to get at.
Go ahead, Bill.
Just curious about, if you're having a prospective buyer, what time frame do you say they could occupy between now and what is the development time for them to move in, sort of thing?
2 years.
On, the best lot, for example, easiest lot to service.
So part of that can change based on negotiation between the potential buyer and the township. Generally, we ask for, once everything is finalized, that development begins and is at a good standing point within 2 years. So people have a lot of wiggle room to either get their financial in order or to build the structures that they need and so on. But we do ask for a 2-year period to have something of notice, I guess, on the lot that they bought.
It does seem like a long time in my mind, but I guess that's the way it is, of course. Maybe, Gord, we could have another section instead of sold, we could have offer pending on the sign. On the lots,
Yes.
or some other wording, to show activity rather than just sold.
Yeah, I like the idea of having some kind of activity on there just to show that it's advancing, it isn't stagnant. That's a great recommendation. Do we have to vote on this, or how do we put this forward?
So you wouldn't necessarily have to vote on it, because when I wrote that section, that was actually what was in my mind as well. But before potentially doing stickers or a graphic design to make it more weather resistant, that if the structure where the sign is on itself is in poor condition, because I believe it's about 8 years old, it may be time to get a new sign altogether anyways, just because it is due to be replaced. But I'll know better once the snow melts, what the condition of the sign is itself.
Okay.
I've looked at the sign and it does look pretty good, so it's not faded in my mind,
It's more the wooden support and the base that it's on, to see if the wood is starting to rot out.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that close.
Okay, Earl, did you?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. I thought I saw your hand there. Rob?
Question to Allison, any update on the real estate part of our discussion back in June?
So I have a draft request for proposal completed, and it's currently being reviewed. So once that it is progressing, it is a bit slower than typical, just because of the normal workload has really slowed me down, but it is moving forward.
Thank you.
Good. Any further comments from anybody? No, we're all set there. Thanks, Allison. Okay, now move to accept the report.
All in favor?
All in favor of accepting the report? And seconder? I'll get.
Oh,
I've been to too many meetings, and too many people have different ways of doing things. I got to get back in the EK way here. Okay, so now there's, did we have mover and seconder? And we have to vote.
I'll second it or move it up.
Good. Okay, Bill, and all in favor now. Good, thank you. And we have 5.5 Township Scholarship Discussion. Allison.
Just a mover a second.
Oh, I see Rob.
Move in second. I'll move.
Okay, and Eleanor second.
So this is just essentially the final step involved with the scholarship, and provided that council approves the budget, then we can essentially carry on with offering the scholarship. With that, I don't believe I listed it as a staff duty, but since this is the first year, we would also reach out to the area high schools and post-secondary schools just to make sure that they are aware. Obviously with the high school, it would be our local residents attending. Where with post-secondary, obviously they can be anywhere across Ontario, but ideally we can have a good uptake with applicants for our first year, and then it should be somewhat self-sufficient in future years once the word gets out.
Anybody have any questions or discussions on this?
Just
Rob?
Just a comment, I think this is a great opportunity for the Economic Development Committee as well as the township to show that we're our interest in the students and post-secondary school, secondary students as well for education. I think that's it's overdue. There's financial hard burdens on people right now. And I think for our scholarship, I think it's the right way, right direction to go. It's a good start.
I agree. Go ahead, Earl.
Allison, when is the timeline sort of thing for budget approval by council?
It's hard to say. We just had a budget meeting last night. Whether budget discussions will continue, it all depends on council. I can't say for sure.
Yeah. I'm just a little concerned about timelines going out too far, and then notification of potential applicants and that sort of thing, getting it in their hands early enough.
You want to comment, it could be as early as 2 weeks.
And it could be as early as March 22nd, I believe, would be the next council meeting, but
Okay.
again, be delayed to an.
Okay. Go ahead, Bill.
I think we can all agree the sooner the better in our minds. I do agree it's certainly long overdue to do this. I think it certainly will be a benefit of interest to potential persons, moving forward with a career. So I think it's quite important. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Any further comment anywhere along? No. Okay, thank you, Allison. So now we have to move her to accept the report.
Just an all in favor is
All in favor of accepting. Now we need a mover and seconder.
No, you're good.
done.
We're good. We're done. Gotcha. Okay. Now we have to move on to other business, which I guess this is the Ontario East Economic Development Membership Renewal.
Yes, so I don't need any mover or seconder for the rest of the items. except for adjournment when we get to that. So this membership is one that the township regularly signs up for. We did not in 2020, just because a lot of the departments were asked to roll back some of their spending where possible. So seeing if there's interest in the committee in rejoining, I believe the fee is $275 for the township. So it's very reasonable, and we do find that we get our money's worth. So if council is all have any comments or agreement, that we'll just go ahead and renew our membership, unless there's comments.
Earl, you
No,
had
I-
a comment?
No, I would support moving ahead, is all I was gonna
Okay.
say.
And Rob?
You think, move ahead with it.
Perfect.
Is that a computer sign now?
I would agree. Some informational items there was in our package there, the digital service squad extension. Any comments on that or questions?
So the only thing I'll add is that I have heard from some businesses that they are taking us up on this offer. For the last electronic newsletter that was sent out to businesses, I included this page as well as a separate item, just so all our subscribers are aware that this is an opportunity. It was also posted on our social media pages and our website. So definitely, if anyone's watching and need those services, definitely look into it, because it is beneficial. And that's the feedback that I've been hearing, is that they do find it very helpful. And it's not listed in this agenda, but just as another information item, is that at our last night council meeting, council agreed to participate in a local flavors program that is with the Frontenac Arch Biosphere Network. Essentially what that does is it identifies the different local producers in the area, and will create basically points of interest. So for any visitors or local for quality produce items and byproducts, can basically know where they can go to get them.
Very good. Bill?
I have sort of a general question. It's buy local is a sort of a catchphrase, but does that mean you're buying at Metro or Giant Tiger or Canadian Tire or Walmart too? Because they employ a lot of people. They put a lot of tax money into somewhere into the system, I assume, So is that part of buy local or no? That catchphrase.
The intent of buy local is more to support your smaller, medium-sized businesses. If there's larger box stores like that, if there's an option between buying produce grown in Canada versus grown in the States, you're encouraged to buy, the ones that are Canadian grown, things along those lines. But it is a lot to put a focus on. Buy as local as you can. If you can't do a local small business, then maybe go, items that are made in Ontario, made in Canada, and kind of branch out that way.
I guess buying local
it's
would
more-
mean manufactured in Canada or our community here too. So it's manufactured as well as sold. So manufacturing does create, made in this area is more encompassing for getting people involved, I guess, if you buy local. You're hitting the people, hitting a group of people here that are probably smaller groups, but they would be the ones that would need most of the support compared to a larger store, which usually might get money from shareholders or from outside the country too. So buying local and made local are sort of very similar approaches, I guess you'd say.
Yes.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
it is to encourage buyers to be more aware of what they're actually buying. So for Ontario, there is a seal that manufacturers can apply for. So right on their product items, it will say made in Ontario. I believe Kirklewood, who makes the sunflower oils and things like that, I believe they have theirs. There's even paint brands that have that seal and things like that. So it's, if you're in an aisle and you're kind of deciding between two items, then ideally that emblem will encourage you to buy one item over the other if you're in a larger store. But ideally, the smaller the store, home-based business, whatever it is where the Shop Local is really trying to encourage people to go to.
Good, thank you.
Okay, good, okay. Any other further comments, questions? That brings us along to public question period. Were there any questions submitted, Allison?
So there were no questions submitted, basically prior to the start of this meeting.
Okay. So that wraps up that part. If there are no further questions or comments, that will bring us to adjournment. So do we have a move to adjourn? I see Eleanor, seconded by Earl. And all in favor.